So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Trauma Theory. Massive news today. It's deadline day, but that's not the important thing. Gini WIJNALDUM is back. He has had a full day training with the team. Now this is something which, the last time which had happened was before he broke his tibia. And this is revolutionary because as much as Gini WIJNALDUM will not be the same Gini WIJNALDUM that used to play for Liverpool and PSG, he can massively lift the massively lift the team. And not that we're living a tough moment. I think we have kind of relifted ourselves from the black hole before the World Cup. But if we add a Gini to this team right now, I think we can always be better. And yeah, Gini WIJNALDUM is back. He's officially back, and he's aiming for a call-up tomorrow. This is something which, if we talked about yesterday, 99% of us would go, what the hell are you saying? Stop lying to us. Well, it's confirmed. Apparently, he'll get a call-up tomorrow. If it's not tomorrow, it's going to be Saturday's game. But anyways, not that it changes. Not that he's going to start tomorrow. Not that he's going to play tomorrow, obviously. But it's just so important to have him back. It's just so important. It's so important because he, first of all, played a massive part in signing for Roma. Roma and PSG, we're talking over weeks and weeks and weeks, and an agreement just couldn't be found. It was himself who said, okay, I want to leave PSG, I want to join Roma, seeing all the enthusiasm after Dybala, seeing all the enthusiasm after the Conference League. I'm gonna say to PSG, right, make them pay less money. I am willing to cut my salary. I want to join Roma. And he's played a big role in this. He's played a massive role in this. And he was extremely unlucky because he played 15 minutes in the first game of the season against Salernitana, scored a goal and it was offside. And then before the Cremonese game, which was our second game of the season, we lost him. We lost WIJNALDUM because Felix broke his tibia, and breaking a tibia is a tough injury. It's a tough injury, and the first thing which I'll say before even speaking about Gini WIJNALDUM is back is that everyone here needs to have patience, because it's more than 1 year that I know you guys, not that I know you in person, but I know the community really well, and a lot of you guys are impatient. A lot of you guys, including me sometimes, I am pointing my eyes here. I'm gonna blame myself too, because sometimes I'm not patient, and we have to be patient because the second Gini WIJNALDUM is back, he's not gonna be the same Gini WIJNALDUM that he was at Liverpool or at PSG. Nowhere close to PSG. Nowhere close to that. Look at Spina. Spina is a very good example. Spina got a massive tough injury, and then look, yes, he starts games, yes, he plays a game. Does he really give an impact to the games? No, he doesn't. We have to be realistic here. Spinazzola is not giving impacts to games. Gini will, because of the experience he has. But we can't expect Gini to be back the same player as he was. And second of all, we cannot expect Gini to start every single game. That's something which it's tough to accept, but it's part of his rehab. I think much of his rehab means that it's going to be a gradual comeback. So it's not like he's going to get a call up tomorrow and then on Saturday he starts from the start. No, it has to be a gradual one. In fact, I think that the fact that he got a call-up tomorrow doesn't mean he's going to play for the next 2 weeks. It just means that he's back with the team. It just means that he's feeling the atmosphere from the stadium. And that's something very important. Because realistically speaking, even if Gini does get a call-up tomorrow, he'll probably start a game in the next few weeks. Maybe even mid through February. But it's going to be a gradual one. So, first of all, he gives Mourinho gives call-ups to him. And that means that he's with the team. He feels the fans. He feels the atmosphere and all of that. Second of all, maybe he plays a few games with the academy team. Third, he then gets subbed in the last 10 minutes. Fourth, maybe he plays 45 minutes, and then we're at that stage where he can play a full game. On the other hand, it's so good. It's just so good news. It's such good news because we need him. We need him because we can always add on him. We can always count on him. And if you add Gini to the midfield, it's gonna bring more versatility. Now, one of the reasons why we've not been the same is because we sold Mkhitaryan, and Mkhitaryan's replacement was supposed to be Gini. One thing which Mkhitaryan did to the team, which obviously now lacks, is that there was a good transition from the defense all the way to the attack. If you look at the start of the season, one of the big things which was lacking in this team was how do we go from Mancini, who has the ball, to Tammy Abraham up front? Something's missing. How do we bring that ball from Mancini to Abraham? That's an example. Gini is the transition. Gini is the versatility and the box-to-box midfielder which is supposed to do that. And I think if you add Gini next to Dybala, that's an increase to the prestige and the level which we had last season. I think it's just good news. And this really puts to mind that I think this Gini situation will also relift even more the team. I've said it yesterday. I think the loss against Napoli will make us such a better team. And I actually think it's going to be a bold statement, but look at this. In the next games, we have Cremonese tomorrow, Empoli on Saturday, Lecce away, Verona at home, and Cremonese away in the Serie A. 5 games, we're going to get 15 points because that Napoli game has made us a better team. And with Gini being back, it also gives you a massive confidential boost. So I think it's massive news. And I can't wait for Gini to get back. I can't wait for the stadium to shout da 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 Gini WIJNALDUM. It's gonna be mental. It's gonna be fun. And we miss that. We miss a player like Gini. I think also now that Europa League starts again, I think one thing which Gini definitely brings is experience. He's won a lot with Liverpool. He's won basically everything under Klopp. He's won the Champions League. We're not in the Champions League. We're in the lower level of it. We're in the Europa League, and I think Gini can give us a massive boost. And maybe even start in the Salzburg game, which is in 18 days. I think 18 days is a good enough time to give the gradual step back. We don't want to rush things. We want him to be back, but to not re-injure himself. So yeah, right. I mean, the transfer is off in 12 minutes. I'm gonna wait until the deadline hits. But are there gonna be any surprises? No, there won't be any surprises. I'm here refreshing Gianluca Di Marzo's Twitter and Fabrizio Romano's Twitter page, just in case there are any last-minute surprises. But there's been a massive story on Zaniolo, which got released a few hours ago by Di Marzo himself. We have a massive behind-the-scenes story. Zaniolo this morning has said yes to Bournemouth. Zaniolo this morning changed his mind and said, yes, I'm off to Bournemouth. However, the Bournemouth ownership don't want him anymore because, they bought Amad Traore from Sassuolo. They bought another guy who I don't know the name. They don't need Zaniolo. They're obviously a team which can't spend a limited amount of money. And, Zaniolo's had his chance. Zaniolo bottled his chance. Now he's stuck in Rome. And the situation is worsening because, we mentioned yesterday how Zaniolo left Rome because he wanted to be in a serene location after the assaults, after all that happened to him after the Napoli game. He left Rome and he went to La Spezia, where his family lives. Today, however, technically, there was not an agreement between Zaniolo and Roma to let him off today too. So technically today, this morning, he should have been back in Rome for the training session, and he wasn't back in Rome. That is just another chapter of this situation degenerating. I think he's had his chance, he's bottled his chance, and now he stays in Rome. in a very bad position. You know, in a very bad position. In fact, I'm going to the stadium tomorrow. It's going to be very interesting to see what the fans display. There are gonna be, I'm 100% convinced there's gonna be a display tomorrow, a banner with something against Zaniolo. I'm 99.9% sure that's gonna happen. It's very curious to see. I think what's missing now is Zaniolo's words. I think what we're lacking now is his voice. I think he needs to clarify the situation, because I think the only way to get back loosening this friction is if he speaks and he explains things. If he keeps on the silence, I think the situation is going to degenerate. You know, yesterday it was another significant day because the ownership has said that Zaniolo's out of the project. It's bad. It's bad, but at the same time, he had his chance, and this is also bad for us, because I think what he got wrong is that he can't expect teams to just wait for him. You know, he's not like Maradona, who's like, right, okay, I'm going to wait for the guy to say yes, I'm going to give him all the time he wants. No, teams are not going to give you as much time. So the problem is, he's had his chance to say yes to Bournemouth. He said no to Bournemouth. He can't expect now, 5 days later, to say for Bournemouth to accept that Zaniolo now said yes to them. So he's had his chance. He's bottled his chance. I think it could have also meant that we would have gotten someone in these last hours today. I was reading how Ziyech is basically off the PSG, but I was reading how the options if Zaniolo left were Tadic from Ajax, Muriel from Atalanta, and Fratesi, which I know isn't a Zaniolo replacement, but Mourinho and the ownership are thinking, right, let me have El Shaarawy as a Zaniolo replacement, and let me get Fratesi to add on to Gini, Matic, Cristante, and all of the midfielders. But it's not going to happen because we've got 7 minutes left. Am I supposed to believe he gets sold in 7 minutes and we buy a player in 7 minutes? What is this? Jack and the Beanstalk? No, it's not. So it's done. It's done. Transfer market is done. We've bought one player, Diego Llorente on loan. We've discussed Diego Llorente yesterday. I don't want to discuss Diego Llorente again. If you want a dedicated stream on that, I went live yesterday. Again, in these last 7 minutes, before we're waiting until the ding-dong goes, let's just speak about the summer transfer market. I know this, the January transfer market is done. I think Thiago Pinto immediately has to think about the summer transfer market. Now, we've decided to keep calm in January, to re-get the balances on the money, and I think to give it all our best in the summer. I think that was definitely the tactics from Thiago Pinto. Thiago Pinto said after the FFP situation, right, let me be calm in January. Let me not buy anyone in January, so that UEFA kind of acknowledge my situation. Let me get the FFP pressure away from me. Let me get some money back, and let me invest that money in the summer. This summer, Zaniolo will leave. This summer, Zaniolo will leave. And I think it could also be argued that it's better to sell him in the summer because maybe teams are in a position to offer more money to satisfy Roma's demands. That can be the case. I think Zaniolo's replacement, I think this summer we need centre-back because Smalling's got a big question mark. We need someone to replace Korsdorp. So we need a full-back. We need a midfielder. Which much of it will depend on Gini. I think if Gini plays well in these last months and we trigger the clause, like the option to buy him back from PSG on a permanent move, then I think... but much of it will depend on how Gini plays these months. Because if we get the impression Gini's not the same player, then why would you buy him permanently? I still think we need goalkeeper, fullback, centre-back, midfielder, box-to-box midfielder, and creative midfielder. I would not put a striker there. I would not put a striker there because I think Tammy's back going. And I don't think the priority should be a striker. I think, again, I've said it many times, I love Tammy. Tammy is my guy. So never in a million years am I in a position to say, let Tammy go. but you know me really well. I would keep Tammy. I wouldn't prioritize a striker, even though it could be said we need a striker. I think the biggest priorities have to be goalkeeper, fullback, box-to-box midfielder, creative midfielder, and centre-back. Names. I think the Zaniolo substitution has to be dealt with extremely well. I've got a name when it comes to the Zaniolo substitution, but I know it won't happen because of the player's value now after the World Cup and all of that. I would love to see Colomwani as a Zaniolo replacement, but it just won't happen. We have to be realistic. And again, top four will depend a lot on this. I'll give you a hypothetical situation on how much the situation will change if. Imagine we get thrown out of the Coppa Italia and we don't get top four and we get thrown out by Salzburg. We're in a shit situation if that happens. On the other hand, let me tell you one thing. Imagine we win Coppa Italia. Imagine we get top four and imagine we get quarterfinals / semi-finals of Europa League. Do people realize how much that changes? If we do these three things, we're gonna attract big players. If we do these three things, I have faith in signing someone to the levels and standards of Brandon Colomwani. I love Colomwani. He's a bowler. He is a bowler. I read his stats the last day. He is like the second best assister in the top European championships with like 12 assists. And he scores goals too. I would love Colomwani. I would love a box-to-box midfielder under the names of Fratesi, Amrabat, even though I think Amrabat won't happen. Centre-back, I think Hincapie is a good name. It's early. We've got this transfer market which just ended. We've got a season to focus on now because I think that season and what we get at the end of the season will massively change your objectives. Right, let's see some updates if there are any last minute things from Romano and Di Marzio. Sabitzer to Man United and Jorginho to Arsenal. We've seen that. Jorginho to Arsenal. The Cancelo to Bayern. These deals really don't make sense. Like, the Cancelo to Bayern and Jorginho to Arsenal really do not make sense. Right, 2 minutes left. Pellegrini, not our Pellegrini. Pellegrini, another Pellegrini who used to play for Roma, who went to Juventus, went on loan to Eintracht Frankfurt, is now on loan to Lazio. You've got another player who went from Roma to Lazio. You bitch. So, yeah, Pellegrini is a new Lazio player on loan. Not our Pellegrini. Don't start writing Pellegrini or captain went to Lazio. Lukic, player which we were interested in, signed for Fulham. And yeah, we've got 1 minute left. I think it concludes the January window. It's been a poor one, but I think I've understood the tactics. We went calm now. We bought one player on loan, Diego Llorente. Now let's go all in the summer. And when I mean all in, again, there has to be a limit to everything. But what I mean all in is that we're definitely going to spend more money than the January, obviously. And obviously, I think as long as we balance the FFP, we can spend as much money as we want. That's the conclusion of everything. Right, 30 seconds until the January transfer market in Italy ends. Now, obviously, there are some transfer markets which don't end today, meaning that we could still sell players. Right, the transfer market has ended. It's done. But we could still, like the Austrian league, I think the Turkish league and all of these leagues don't end today. So we could still sell players to these teams which participate in these leagues. But we're done when it comes to signing players. We've bought one player, Diego Llorente, centre-back, who can play as a wing-back, who can also play as a defensive midfielder. Versatile. We'll see how it goes. Tomorrow, we've got the Cremonese game. Let's not focus on Zaniolo too much. Let the guy go. and let's focus on Cremonese. We have to win Coppa Italia because, as I just said, the more things we win, the more things we accumulate, the more things we achieve, the better it will be this summer. I'll be at the stadium tomorrow, so stadium vlog will come tomorrow evening. Prepare for it. It's going to be a very curious one because we've got two things. How the stadium will react to Zaniolo is going to be interesting. And if Wijnaldum is back, how the stadium reacts to that. So it's going to be a fun one. Prediction 2-0. We're going to get to the semi-finals, even though I don't want to jinx anything. And tonight, we've got probably the best game of these Coppa Italia quarterfinals. We've got Inter Milan against Atalanta. To be honest with you, both of them are dangerous, but one of the two will be eliminated. I think both of them are at the same levels. I'm not picking anyone. Whoever wins, wins. And whoever wins that game will play the winner of Juventus and Lazio, which will be played on Thursday. And we'll be playing the winner of Fiorentina and Torino. So, match tomorrow. Look forward to it. And obviously, we'll speak on Thursday. Preparing for the Empoli game with non-stop, but stadium vlog tomorrow. So I'll catch you soon. Don't forget to smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Please subscribe. It supports me so much. Every single like button supports me so much. If everyone in this room right now, before leaving, before going to eat, before having breakfast, wherever you're from, if you can take 2 seconds to smash that thumbs up, you know, it would support me so much. And yeah, share the link on my channel with your families and friends. Diego Llorente to Roma is the only transfer deal. Gini WIJNALDUM is back. Potential call-up tomorrow. These are the big news today. And obviously the Zaniolo story, which, as I said before, I don't want to get into it anymore. Zaniolo's staying and he is gonna have a divorce marriage, if we want to call it that way. Very curious to see what happens. We're definitely going to speak about it. But I'll catch you soon. Simon Hout. Take care and enjoy the game tonight between Inter and Atalanta.